go time.
The boys are back. That's right, Florida Man Sports is here with another exciting episode. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. This is Florida Man Sports.
That's great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Florida Man Sports.
Let's go.
I don't like that little ding.
That was good, man. That was
All right, sure. Now, guys, so this week we go over Week 11 in the NFL. Chris, the season's it's going pretty damn fast.
It's going
man.
too fast. We needed to slow down, NFL, please. I needed to slow down.
That we do. The waiver wire picks we don't miss in our waiver wire picks. We obviously going over start them or sit them. So all of our fantasy advice is coming after we make our picks. So let's go ahead and start it up, Chris, right now. Please, before we start up, actually, don't not forget to share, like, listen, all that stuff here. We're available on iHeart, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you listen to your music or podcast, whatever, we're available. So make sure you check us out more than just on the YouTube here. We'll start up, Chris, with our Florida team here. Tampa is on a bye week, so they can't lose a close game this week, but Jacksonville is taking on the Detroit Lions. Chris, what you got?
Thank you for finding a way to bring the Bucs in and kick them down after all the pain and suffering I've had. Look, folks, I concede. I'm talking to you, Chris.
Finally.
I concede. Because the Lions can't do anything wrong. Goff throws 5 interceptions and the Texans find a way. Of course, they lose. The Lions win. So the Lions can't do no wrong. I concede. I'm over it. It's done. Now you got the Jaguars that come home that are the on the road team. The Lions are 3-1 at home. The Jaguars are 0-5. There's no inkling that says the Jaguars are going to win this game. You've got Mac Jones, who made an appearance last week. Mm-hmm. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The Lions can do no wrong. There's no way possible. You know how you say any given Sunday?
Yes.
Okay, not this. But you can bank on it. You can put money on it if you want. I would even go further as to say that the Lions are guaranteed to win this game, so much so.
The lock of the week. Huh?
The lock of the week, that I will go ahead. If they lose, I will grab the proceeds from this show and I will donate it to a charitable cause. That's how confident I am.
What? Look at this guy. It's
Lions
amazing.
win.
That is amazing. You
Got me all fired up and excited.
Robin Hood over
Let's go.
here, just going ahead and saying, you know what, we're giving up money to the charity holiday season. Good, well done, well done. Obviously Jacksonville, who is arguably one of the worst teams in the NFL. They're going against my Super Bowl pick in preseason, the Detroit Lions, who are the best team in the NFL right now. So, yes, it's an easy decision here. Detroit Lions, on their worst day, will always beat Jacksonville on their best.
I got so heated and excited about conceding defeat. Sorry, I got all excited.
It's all right. About time. It only took you until week 11 to finally come to your senses there. Chris, the Vegas Raiders, another team that you can argue is the worst team in football.
Yeah.
They're playing our Miami Dolphins. Who you got here?
So last week, we got to give credit when it's due. Give credit to Johnny for last week telling us something along the lines that the Dolphins are a team that could be getting hot at the right time, and they won last week. That being said, you've got the Raiders on the other side that they fired their offensive coach a week ago, thinking that that's the solution to the problem. It isn't. At the end of the day, folks, don't overthink this one. The Dolphins are at home. Tua has gotten better week after week. I did say he was going to get, took him a couple games to get warmed up. Tom Brady, Mike Vrabel is on the phone for you. So I know they're not going to do it until the end of the season, right? But they need to fire that coach. Dolphins win at home, and they'll be 4-6. I got to ask you a question because this is Florida Man Sports.
Okay.
Dolphins, I'm hoping you're going to say Dolphins are going to win. At 4-6, are the Dolphins doing themselves any favors at this point? Because they're not making the playoffs, right?
I disagree with you there. I mean,
Okay.
like I had mentioned last week, I had them winning against the Rams. I said this is the start of a run.
Sure.
So they're going to go on a run. Obviously, the Raiders now they face weak teams for the next few weeks here. So the Dolphins can easily go on a run, like I predicted they will. They're not winning the division. The Bills have a stranglehold on the AFC East.
Right.
However, a wild card is an option for Miami.
So you still think they can make a wild card? I know there's a run and then there's a wild card run. You're talking about wild card?
Yeah, wild card, of course.
Wow.
I mean,
Okay.
guys, in the AFC, what do you got? You got the Chiefs who get given wins. You have the Ravens. Really, outside of that, there's nobody running away with it. You have talented teams like the Bengals who keep losing. You have teams out there that we expected something going to happen with the Titans in the AFC who keep losing. So the Jets, who you expected to do something, keep losing.
That's true.
So
That's true.
the AFC isn't, on a lockdown here. So if the Dolphins make a run, I do have them winning this game. If the Dolphins make a run, they have a shot to really make a push for the wild card. Are they going to do anything with that? Probably not, but still, their team is talented enough and their opponents are weak enough, and the AFC is open enough for it to happen.
Well, remains to be seen.
The Washington Commanders, a good game coming up here. They are playing the Philadelphia Eagles. Who you got, Chris?
I'm going to stick to my script, Johnny Cinco. Florida Man Sports, streaming on all platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Two things that I've said about both of these teams. One, I've said that the Commanders are not as good as their record would indicate based on the schedule. And I've got the Eagles going to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to stick by both of those things. So you have to ask yourself two questions. Who's had the harder schedule? It's the Eagles. The next question is, who's playing at home? It's the Eagles. Give me the better 7-team wins here to win. Eagles are going to win this game, Johnny.
This game can go either way. It's going to be a close game, but because they are playing at home, and the Eagles, yes, on paper are a better team, but man, this Commanders team has beaten teams who are better on paper, but still, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this game against the Washington Commanders.
If I may.
Well, you want to argue with me that I agree with you?
No, we agree, but I can't stress this enough for those people that like to gamble and talk about, when we're talking about teams. The Commanders at 7-3, folks. Don't tell me that this season, when it started, you expected them to be 7-3 at this point with the first year of your coach and the rookie quarterback. So while your rookie quarterback should win Rookie of the Year, I'm sorry, I don't see you guys as a threat in the playoffs. I don't even see you really as a threat, and this game is going to prove it. This is a divisional game, so this is going to prove it right here. This is all the chips are on the table. You don't get this win. Not only are you not going to be there in the playoffs, you may miss out on the wild card in the NFC. It's that I'm serious.
I get it. I get it. The NFC is far more competitive than the AFC there.
Absolutely.
But still, no. The Commanders are the real deal. Their defense,
they're overachievers, man. They're overachievers.
No, listen, their defense is legit. You have Jaden Daniels playing at an MVP level. So no, nobody expected this because they thought, okay, the Eagles are running away with this division. The Cowboys, the fans were making noise, but nobody else was. And nobody saw what happened here. Now, Eagles are winning this game, but they're not going to run away with this game. Commanders will make it competitive to show that, no, they're here. And the Commanders will make some noise in the playoffs. The Chicago Bears, another divisional game. They're going against the Green Bay Packers coming off a bye week. Who you got, Chris?
Well, if you saw last week's game against the Bears and Cardinals, you would know that this is an easy one. You got Jordan Love, who's coming off the bye week. They needed the bye week to get healthy. The only thing that's sticking out there, like if you're one of those analysts, is that the Bears are 4-1 at home. That's not enough to convince me. The Packers are the better team, and this is the kind of game that good teams that go into the playoffs win. Give me the Packers to beat the Bears. Bears are at home.
Well, the Bears did fire their offensive coordinator, but this offense is the same Bears offense we see year in and year out. They're going to complain, saying that this is the team that ruined Justin Fields, that ruined Trubisky, and now it's going to ruin Caleb. It's like, all right, maybe I don't know what to tell you. I'm Bears fans. You guys you've never had an offense. You got to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. Rex Grossman, who I couldn't stand the University of Florida, but he still had there was no offense there. You guys won the Super Bowl with McCown. It's like, dude.
So what are you trying to say?
McMahon, excuse me.
Well, what are you trying to say, Johnny? Because you're kind of talking out of
you're jinxed.
You're talking out of both sides of your mouth here. Because if we go back to the beginning, you were very high on Caleb Williams. I was not. Oh, you still are.
Listen,
I thought you were going to say, "Hey, Christian, you were right. I was wrong."
No, listen,
he's not really going to be Rookie of the Year. No.
Listen, Caleb Williams obviously hasn't kept up with Jaden Daniels and kept up with C.J. Stroud.
Bo Nix
hasn't kept up with Bo Nix. Yeah. But I have to some blame on the franchise. It's the Bermuda Triangle in Chicago. It's like, forget it, Caleb Williams. Yeah. Yes, but the guy still has talent. I'm not going to call him out like Richardson, who quit in the middle of a game. And I'm not going to call him out like, I don't see what you see with Drake May. I see slight improvements from Drake May, but I don't see something that's going to be like, oh, this guy is the truth.
We'll get there. I'm excited about Drake May.
So,
we'll get there.
but I haven't given up on Caleb Williams. I don't know why you've given up on him. You see a bunch of haters because so much hype and so much hate.
Last thing we're going to say, I know we're going over the Week 11 predictions here, Johnny, but one thing we got to also say, the rumor mill's the rumor mill. You've seen it already. Players are talking about benching Williams, asking for the other quarterback to come up, and that's why they fired the offensive coordinator. So the rumors are already spreading. It's not just me saying it; it's the players within the organization aren't happy with this kid. I'm just saying.
Well, the defense was elite, and the defense looks like they're slowly quitting because they're like, we're carrying everything here. What's going on? Obviously, the running game. This team is set up for success, minus their rookie quarterback. But is the backup really the answer? No, they just want another option. I get it. They want him to sit a little more and learn. But take your lumps, Chicago. You've been taking them for 40 years, so you'll be all right one more season.
I'm done hating on this kid for this episode. I'm not trying to hate on him. It's just facts. But this is the same guy that when he got drafted told his punter, "Don't worry, you won't be punting very much."
Yeah,
the moment he said that, I'm like,
I like confidence. I understand that, but
arrogance.
I'm fine with arrogance. But there's earned arrogance. There's an arrogant, and you come in here unearned, running your mouth, doing your thing like, dude, shut your damn mouth. Do something here before you start sending on some dumb text like that. But whatever. Moving on from the terrible Bears team, the Packers are winning that game.
Yes.
The Tennessee Titans, they're going against the Minnesota Vikings. Chris, who you got?
Yeah, for the Titans, Johnny, Will Levis comes back last week, and doesn't matter. It's not enough. The Titans lose to the Chargers. And for the Vikings, they dropped 2 games and they won 2 games. Now they're at 7-2. And so, long story short, the Vikings are going to win this game. However,
there's a however.
Sam Darnold.
Okay.
I know you tune in and you listen to every episode of Florida Man Sports because we're streaming on all platforms. And this is your wake-up call, my friend. I've watched all these games. We watch all this tape. And over the last few games, Johnny, Sam Darnold has been playing average to lower-end football. And let me give you some quick numbers over the last 5 games. 6 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Under 70% passing. If you look closer just in the month of November, you're talking about a 78 QB rating, 3 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So this is, for me, Johnny, a wake-up call for Sam Darnold. He needs to get back up and do what he's been doing all season. And this is more like a tune-up game. So I hope and I expect the Vikings to win. But I better see some good performance from Darnold, who's been regressing in the last few weeks. What do you got?
Minnesota's winning this game. It's not that complicated. This is almost as much as a lock as the Detroit and Jacksonville.
Sure.
No, you're right with Darnold. But listen, Darnold was playing out of his mind. He was the last quarterback to throw an interception. He was there perfect doing everything else there. So you knew he was going to go ahead and come back down to earth. And he has every quarterback has their trials. They have their ups and their downs. But his downs are not nearly as low as his highs. His highs have been through the roof. Downs have been like average. All right, he's not really doing it. But still, Minnesota is going to be fine. Sam Darnold's going to be fine. This is going to be – if it wasn't for Detroit, we'll be talking about Minnesota like the surprise running away with this division. But Minnesota, unfortunately for them, playing the same division as the best team in football, the Detroit Lions. So they're going to wind up with a wild card. I feel bad whoever has to face the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs. They're going to be fine.
So you're saying, Christian, relax. It's because Sam Darnold was playing so great. Is that way? That's why this looks terrible now? Is that what it is?
He was playing above his pay grade, and he did well. But he's learning things. Exactly. That's all it is. But you're right. I expect a big game from Sam Darnold this week against a team that has been one of the biggest disappointments of the season here.
Absolutely.
So yes, easy. Minnesota's winning this game against Tennessee. The New England Patriots, Chris, they're taking on the LA Rams. Who you got?
New England Patriots. I have this trophy here for you as a congratulations. Look, folks, you're winners of 2 out of the last 3 games. The game that you lost in overtime. I'm watching.
We have 3 wins all season.
I'm watching. I'm just saying. I'm watching. Patriots could have been 4-6 on the season. That's really good news.
If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
Okay. The bad news, besides that joke, the bad news for the Patriots is that now they got to take on the Rams. And while the Rams did lose last week, this game for me, Johnny, is like a measuring stick type of game. How are the Patriots going to look against this Rams team? The high-powered offense that they have. The Rams are the better team on paper. I'm calling the Rams to win. It's going to be a close game, though. I believe it's going to be a game that's 7 or less. Patriots are at home. Not that it means much this year. They're 1-3 at home. Give me the Rams to win. But again, folks, this is a measuring stick game, and I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if we look back and go, wow, the Patriots won this game. That's how high I am on Drake May. The real question, before Johnny gives us his pick, Johnny, Are you ready to get hurt again? Who are you picking?
Listen, the last time I looked at it, I think the Rams were 6.5-point favorites. That's an easy cover.
-5 now.
No, it's not. It's an easy cover. The Rams are winning this game. If Drake May is the guy that you say he is, he'll find a way to win this game.
Ooh, here we go.
He'll find a way to win this game.
He's ready to get hurt.
So Drake May, you want to go ahead and be the guy.
I wonder if Quinn's ready to get hurt.
Quinn doesn't even pay attention to his lineup. He doesn't know what's going on here. So it's like Quinn forgets he plays fantasy football. So, no. The Patriots are losing this game to a much better team. They're finally getting the flow of things with Kupp and Nakua back.
Yep.
So the Rams, I just knew the Miami's about to go on a run. They're playing there. So it's going to start with the Rams. It's going to continue on for the next 3 or 4 games. But no.
Rams are beating the Patriots?
Rams are beating the Patriots. Okay. All right, Chris, the New Orleans Saints, your second favorite team of all time, is playing the Cleveland Browns. Who you got?
So the Browns are back from the bye week. It makes them a very dangerous type of game, right? This game, you got a 3-7 team versus a 2-7 team. And so it's a very unpredictable game. It's a 2-question game, Johnny. Who's the home team? It's the Saints.
Yes.
Who do you trust with the ball, Winston or Carr? And if you're like me, the Saints and Carr win that 9 out of 10 times. So give me the Saints to win at home. It's going to be one of those games where you're basically just playing for pride, and I think the Saints are the better team overall. Saints win.
The Saints are a better team overall. Listen, if Carr was playing like all season, he didn't get hurt, you have an argument. But they're not. Carr is been hurt. He
just bounced back last week though. So.
Yeah, I don't see that as a bounce back. I see that they played a bad team. I think that Winston, who played for New Orleans for several seasons there, was coming back, knows the systems, wants revenge game.
There's the storyline, folks.
The Browns are beating New Orleans.
Wow.
The Browns have a better defense, and the connection between Winston and Tillman I like. So, no. I mean, Olave was never a thing for me. He's probably not coming back the rest of the season. Nobody cares. I think Camaro's going to have a good game. Tillman's going to have a good game. And the Browns are going to go ahead and win this
You make a very convincing argument. Mine is my record on the Saints all year. I can't miss. Saints are winning.
Yes, because Chris, I'm surprised, honestly. He's the only reason he's picking the Saints to win this week is because the Bucs are on the bye week. Okay? Because the Bucs were on the bye week, he'll be like, they're going to lose because he needs them to lose. Now it's like, all right, it doesn't really matter right now. But no, I disagree. Browns are winning, according to Johnny. The Jersey Jets, the great Jersey Jets, who I said on paper look good. They'll find a way to beat the Jets and stink, and they do. They're playing the Indianapolis Colts. Who you got, Chris?
I love it how he touts himself on being right when now, just like I always give you credit when you're right, you got to apologize to our fans when you're wrong.
What was I wrong about?
Remember, guys, a couple weeks ago, he was like, oh, when Flacco we trust or something like that. And then he's gone 0-2 as a starter.
No.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
0-2.
How dare you?
So in Flacco we trust is now I will give you this. It was against the Ravens and the Bills.
Yeah, exactly.
But 0-2.
Exactly.
Fact is,
go ahead.
I was right. Johnny was wrong.
Sure.
Therefore, give me the Colts to win this one on the road. Okay, Colts win.
Oh, so you're giving up on your AFC East champs?
Colts win. And this was a very hard game for me to, like you said, I was rooting for the Jets. But ultimately, if you look at the games that the Colts have lost, they have been competitive. They have been close games. You kind of see why they benched and they're now starting Flacco. So give me the Colts to win this game.
Flacco played good games. I told you last week that Downs is going to get you 15 points, and we got you 14.7. So yeah, round up. I was right. So it's just
round up.
This is a good team. They didn't lose because of Flacco. So they played some of the toughest teams in the NFL. This is a good football team. And the Jersey Jets are not a good football team. They got destroyed, owned by the Arizona Cardinals last week. They couldn't do anything. They didn't score a touchdown, 6 points. They did nothing. They were a joke. And all said and done, what, you think they're going to come back and do something against old man Flacco? No. Colts are a better team. They're going to beat the Jets. The Jets, they'll squeak a win. They played the Patriots one more time, I think. They'll maybe squeak a game against the Miami later on here. But still, the Jets are done. I don't care. They spent all the money. They did everything they needed to do. Jets are done, so forget about them. The Baltimore Ravens, your Super Bowl pick, Chris, they are taking on this the game of the week, folks. The Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers, who are just 7-2. Nobody saw that. Who you got?
Yeah, you said it best. Game of the week. Playing for the top playoff spot in that division, because this is what's going to help you get set apart. Yep. First of all, let me just say this to Roger Goodell, another avid listener of our show.
Yes.
Goodell, this should have been this should have been a flex game, bro. It's a 1:00 game. What are you doing? What are you doing, right? Game of the week. At any rate, at the beginning of the year, I said Ravens and Eagles Super Bowl. And this is the kind of game where Lamar Jackson, who has 24 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, this is the kind of game that if you want to make it to the Super Bowl, if you want to get another MVP, that you are on the road, that you step up when your name is called and you dominate. So, Ravens win this game. I stick to my script. And they're going to win a tough game. This is going to be a game that's won 7 points or less because the Steelers are a really good team this season. Ravens win.
Ravens and Lamar Jackson has been playing. Lamar Jackson specifically has been playing out of his mind. But with this Pittsburgh team under Russell Wilson, they're playing in Pittsburgh, one. Okay. And Russell Wilson, since he's been leading this team, the team has been averaging 30 points per game. Baltimore's defense is terrible. Everybody's talking. You get in your head that Baltimore, they're good, a good defense. No, they're not. They're a bad defense. They've had 2 good defensive games. Every game this season, they've given up 23 or more points, with the exception of 2 games, and most of those games are 30 plus. And in this game here, Russ, he's gonna be cooking. He's gonna be cooking. Oh. What? He's going to be cooking. Russell Wilson somehow. Okay. The hater over here who loved Justin Fields, don't take away Justin Fields. He's going to be good.
He, in the words of Johnny, he did what he needed to do during the time.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. And Russ Wilson is going to do what he needs to do and take a stranglehold of the division with a win against a tough Baltimore team. Pittsburgh is winning this game.
Listen, I'm trying to process what you just said here, and so look for what you're saying to happen, Johnny.
Okay.
If let's say hypothetically it happens.
Okay.
Then Russell Wilson needs to be in the conversation for MVP
because he beats the Ravens.
Because his team is 8-2. Nobody expect them to be at that type of record. Be leading the division, leading the AFC. Yes, for all those reasons. Well, besides the Chiefs, for all those reasons.
I get it, but it's the Chiefs are 9-0, and Mahomes has a terrible stat line. It's a stat record. The MVP is a stat record. You have everything else. So no, Russell Wilson's doing what he needs to do. He's not in the conversation. Who is in the conversation is Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray got himself in the conversation last week. His stat line is impressive.
I agree.
He can do his thing, but nobody's in the same room right now as Jackson. Lamar Jackson is in a whole other universe. What he's doing here now. Can he continue that? I don't think so. I think this is the game with a significant top 5 defense in the league in Pittsburgh. They're going to go ahead and put this team on their butt. They're going to go ahead and they're going to show them they're not going to be able to run the same way they've done. I get it. Henry's a beast, but they're not going to run like they used to. And Pittsburgh is going to go ahead and Russ Wilson.
I can't remember, Dottie. I can't remember. I know in the beginning of the year with all sports, what we like to do is call different matchups and different award winners. I can't remember who said that Lamar Jackson was an MVP candidate this year. Who was? I can't remember who was that.
Let me get this straight. You want to pat yourself on the back because the defending MVP,
I sure as hell will.
The guy who won the MVP the year before, he's gonna be a candidate again. Hey, all right,
facts, baby.
Way to go out on a limb,
Best
Chris.
Statistical season of his career. You're welcome.
Hey, we're not done yet. I remember one year, the first year that Drew Bledsoe was with the Bills, he was 6 games in, MVP favorite. Nosedive after that. So no, it's calm down. Calm down. All right. Calm down. All right. All right, Chris. The Denver Broncos and your boy Bo Nix, they take on Atlanta Falcons, your 3rd favorite team of all time. Who you got?
Florida Man Sports, streaming on all platforms. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, folks. And I'm going to give you an unpopular opinion alert. You ready, Johnny?
Sure.
Both of these teams are evenly matched. Both of these teams are evenly matched.
Ridiculous.
Look, at the end of the day, I know Cousins has like 700 more passing yards. I know that the running back and Bijan Robinson is better. I get all that. But the Denver
Every position player is better.
But the Denver
on the
Broncos
Falcons.
make it up on execution. The Denver Broncos make it up on defense. That's the facts. That's why the Broncos are at 5-5. That's why the Falcons are at 6-4. One game divides them. Oh, and by the way, the Broncos just lost by a field goal. So again, both of these teams are very, very similar.
You don't get half a win.
At the end of the day, the Broncos are at home, folks. And I haven't missed when it comes to picking these NFC South matchups. Your boy has had your back, except for the Bucs game last week, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Good thing you cut yourself off.
Johnny's Super Bowl team, the Falcons, are going to lose.
They're not my Super Bowl team.
Are going to lose.
What gaslighting son of a...
Bo Nix and the Broncos beat the
they're-
Falcons. Broncos win, baby.
Okay. The team will have going to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. The NFC is the Detroit Lions. Like I said, I have the Falcons going to the NFC Championship.
Oh.
And losing to the Detroit Lions.
Oh.
And then go in there. So,
Oops.
yes, get it right. Get it right, Chris. But it's a nice try there. Atlanta is a better team. I don't care. They're playing the Broncos. Every position is better. It's checked off for the Falcons. Better running back, better quarterback, better fullback, better their offensive line,
It's only led
better
to one
everything.
more game. It's only led to one more game, but go ahead.
This guy here who loves Bo Nix. Only guy who is better than Bo Nix is Justin Fields. But Bo Nix, Bo Nix. No, they're going to lose this game. The Denver Broncos are, and the Falcons are going to win this game. They're a better team. Now, doesn't mean that that Bo Nix is not going to take advantage of this Falcon defense. This is going to be a close game. Koo, I have you on my fantasy team. You are trash, bro. Like you miss so many field goals.
Arthur Blank gave him a hug. How many did he miss?
Like that's what we want. We want if you can't miss 3 field goals in a game.
He pulled a Moody.
Yeah, he did pull a Moody there. But the only difference is that Tampa Bay couldn't capitalize with him missing 3 field goals. He couldn't capitalize or anything else here. Couldn't do any of that. It's horrendous. But still, they need to figure it out. I don't know what's going on with Koo, but still, doesn't matter. The Mile High Stadium there, you got the thin air. You'll be able to kick those a lot easier. It's going to be a close game. I have the Falcons winning by 3 because Atlanta, unlike the Bucs, can actually win close games.
Oh, I can't wait for next week.
The Seattle Seahawks
Okay.
are playing their rival, the San Francisco 49ers. Chris, what you got?
Well, this is a stock market, folks. Florida Man Sports also gives you stock advice here, right? You get everything with us.
I got it.
And one thing you have to understand, Johnny, is that in the stock market, the Seahawks, you're in sell. Sell that stock. Get rid of it. Be done with them. Whereas for the 49ers, you should be buying, and you should be buying a lot of it. I said this last week, folks. Even with a 50% McCaffrey, the 49ers are back on offense. You have to respect McCaffrey. You get the best out of Purdy, and it's exactly what Debo and all those wide receivers needed. And you got to see that last week. It's going to continue to get better. It's going to continue to grow. Whereas, again, the Seahawks, the worst thing the Seahawks ever did, Johnny, is start winning more games than they should have. I did not expect them to be at 4-5 this year. They packed, look what they did. A couple weeks ago, they packed people on defense because they wanted to continue to win games. That didn't happen. They won 1 out of the last 3 games. So, again, sell on the Seahawks. The Niners are at home. Give me the Niners to win. They're the better team all around. And for the Seahawks, you're at 4-6. Start looking into the draft.
Seattle is mid. San Francisco is mid. They've been playing mid. I understand what they look like on paper. I understand you see all this
McCaffrey's
talent.
back.
Yeah. McCaffrey's 50% at best. And I get all that. I understand what you're saying, but calm down. You'll be here. The stock market. You see like this, like, yeah. If you want to talk about the stock market, both these teams are Enron. If you guys understand that reference back in the day here, like,
That's terrible.
I'm not buying either one
terrible.
of these stocks here.
Terrible.
But in this particular game, San Francisco is going to go ahead and win. San Francisco is going to make their own little run. San Francisco's not winning this division. But still, San Francisco is going to go ahead and make their way into the playoffs. There's too much talent on this team not to. They had their little meltdown, they'll collapse. They're going to go on a little run, and they're going to make the playoffs. But San Francisco, I told you, somebody has to fall off. I told you in preseason, Kansas City, San Francisco. Last year's Super Bowl. Who's falling off? Kansas City's not falling off. NFL loves them too much. The NFL's done everything possible to ensure Kansas City's in the playoffs at a high seed. So that means San Francisco falling off. They're on their own. Injuries happen. Not elite play by their quarterback. Purdy has happened. And this CMC, who I urged before the season, said, do not pick him up number 1 overall. What your boy over here said, no, you got to pick him. No.
I never said that. Wow, you gaslighting.
Oh, no.
We were talking about Barkley. Talking about Barkley, and I made the comparison that look at CMC. He came out of Carolina and was healthy enough. Because you were comparing Barkley being traded. Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm gonna remind our viewers, and I'm gonna see if I'm not lazy enough to go and edit this and bring it in here to where we talked about the number 1 overall pick, and you said the consensus number 1 is obviously CMC. Said no, it's not. I said I'm urged you guys to stay away from him. There was too much mystery around that injury. I was like, don't do it. Don't do it.
I demand that you get Derby and the producers. I demand that you get that tape because what I said was
I'm gonna try not to be lazy.
The consensus number 1 was CMC. However, it's not. It's Barkley. And you were making the injury comparisons.
Was this a dream you had?
No. Anyway,
are you confusing your dreams with the realities? But it's a nice try, Chris. But anyway, San Francisco is going to win this particular game, but both teams are mid. Kansas City is playing Buffalo. A great game. Game is always good, and somehow Kansas City always wins these games. But who you got this week, Chris?
Sweeping declaration, folks. This week, with the Bucs being on bye week, we are all Bills Mafia. All of us. You at home, streaming on all platforms. Over here, this guy who's a Patriot fan that's not ready to get hurt again. We are all Bill Mafias this week. And here's why, folks. If you look at the Chiefs' schedule, if we don't beat them this week, they have a legitimate run at going undefeated into the playoffs. Just real quick, Johnny, you got the Panthers, the Raiders, Chargers, Browns, Texans, and then the Steelers, which we don't know at that point what the Steelers are going to look like.
I get it.
So at the end of the day, folks, Bills win because America needs them to win. I have no statistical things to give you other than the fact that we need the Bills to win. Bills win.
We've seen this in the regular season. We've seen it in the playoffs, and every single time Kansas City wins. It's just how it always works out that way. And Kansas City, who are 9-0, have the lowest point differential for any 9-0 team of all time. What does that mean? Is that like they don't score points, they're barely squeaking by. And unlike a team like the Falcons, who you hate on the fact that they win so many close games, I think that's a good thing. Kansas City is the worst 9-0 team of all time. They're winning these games like we've seen through help from the referees. Even every game you see is always something. Now, they should have lost against Denver. Denver just went ahead and just blew it. They couldn't make a 35-yard field goal. Yes, they got blocked, blah, blah, blah. They blew the damn game. Denver had their opportunity. They should have done it, and they didn't. So the tough divisional game here, purely because I hate that everybody else, Kansas City. And Buffalo, it's kind of like, come on, Buffalo. You're playing at home. You haven't lost at home all season. Can you please not lose this game? I don't know what the point spread is at all. I don't know what it is here, just purely on wins and losses here. It's going to be a close game.
It's Buffalo -2.5.
It's still always going to be close. So I'm not forget the point spread. I'm just telling you that Buffalo is going to win this game here because that's what God wants.
I told you.
Because God wants this team. They should have lost last week. They should have lost many games here. Like, enough is enough. This is not a very good Kansas City team. I get it. Kansas City's how are you 9-0? You're not good. I've seen the gameplay. See, your running game. Pacheco's been injured all season. Is not very good. Your secondary's trash. Your O-line isn't very good. Mahomes has more interceptions than touchdowns. How are you 9-0? Because the referee, because the NFL's like, we need to go ahead and make sure they get a high seed. So we're going to help them out to a point. Enough. It's enough. You're tainting the game. Buffalo's winning this game.
Let's go.
the Los Angeles Chargers, after all that large run with the Chargers and Bengals. What do you got here, Chris?
Yeah, man, this is really a toss-up game of the week when you look at it, because the Bengals at 4-6, they don't want to go away, even though they lost last week. The Chargers, they just run the ball to death, and they got good coaching, good defense there.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, you got to go with the analytics, Johnny. And the analytics tells us this, plain and simple: the Bengals have yet to beat one single team with a winning record. Chargers are 6-3. Chargers are at home. This is the nail in the coffin for the Bengals. Mm-hmm. Chargers win.
I understand. I looked at the same thing you did. And at some point, the same way I called the Miami to make a turn, Bengals right now start making their run. So you're right. They have not, and it starts right now this week here. They're going to find a way. They're too talented. Same way the Niners. You're too talented of a team to go away right now in Week 11.
I'm going to give you a chance to redeem yourself. I'm going to throw one more thing out there before you. I'm going to give you another chance to pick the Chargers. Ready? What are the Chargers known for doing this season?
Running.
Which takes the ball away from?
Burrow.
Exactly. With that defense, do you want to?
What?
Do you want to change your pick?
You know what?
No. Okay.
No, I changed my pick. I know what you meant. No, I changed my pick. I understand they want to run the ball because they can't throw. I feel bad for Herbert, who wants to throw it and he can't. Yeah. They got no receivers, so they're gonna throw. Bourne, they're gonna eat up the clock. I get it. They play Bourne football to win games, and that's what Harbaugh does. I understand all that. Still, at the end of the day, if you are behind, and the key to this game, the Bengals need to jump on the Chargers in the first quarter, because obviously once you're ahead, you eliminate the run game.
To a degree.
You can't to a degree. You can't run it. You can run it with the lead. You can't run it when you're falling behind there. So as long as the Bengals go ahead and do what they need to do and jump on it in the first quarter, then they changed the entire game plan for the Chargers, and they're forced to throw the ball. They got no receivers, great quarterback, and it's going to fall in the hands of the Bengals. So Bengals playing. Wow. One of your favorite teams of all time, the Dallas Cowboys.
God,
they had the Texas
rivalry.
How many
favorite teams do I have?
You have a lot. You have a lot.
Jesus
They're all
Christ.
terrible.
Is the Lord.
The Dallas Cowboys taking on the Houston Texans. What do you got, Chris?
Yep. Okay, got it.
Your
breaking news, Johnny. Breaking news. Some good news for Texas. Mm-hmm. A team in Texas is actually going to win a game this month. Because you like that?
I see what you did.
Because at the end of the day, folks, both of these teams this month have been miserable. We know what happened with the Cowboys. We know what happened with the injuries. But for the Texans, right, at 6-4, they're having a bad month themselves. Don't overthink this one. Monday Night Football, this is short and sweet, folks. You go with the team that's got the healthier quarterback, the better talent, and the bigger upside. That's the Texans. Texans win on the road. And this is going to be crazy, folks. Cowboys are going to be 0-5 after this one at home. Texans win.
Texans don't win this game, so whatever. We all know this. The Cowboys are terrible. The thing is that the bigger question is trying to figure out, why are the Cowboys not starting Trey Lance? Why are they not? You gave up a 4th-round pick for this guy. So Rush, who you brought in, didn't give you any touchdowns.
I disagree with you completely, bro.
How are you disagreeing with me?
Because you're questioning a team who traded for a wide receiver and giving away a 4th-round pick and then wondering why they don't have common sense. Hello.
Yeah,
we know why they're not playing Trey Lance. They don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, that's really the answer at this point. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Sorry.
They clearly don't know what they're doing.
They
pick up Mingo for a 4th-round pick when everybody was getting elite wide receivers for 5 and 6s. Yeah. But still, you picked this guy up a couple years ago to all right, let's go ahead and see what you got. See what you have. For me, it's I would like to think that this guy must be terrible. He must be the worst, because he's run the practice squad, he's run the second team in practice, doing whatever. He must be so bad that they're like, we're not even going to go ahead and show the public that we made a terrible mistake. Because how are you throwing in Rush, who has won you some games, but he didn't do anything last week, did nothing last week. So now the rivalry against a Texas team there, go ahead. You have no pride. Are you tanking the season? Are you trying to go ahead? There are talks of the Cowboys maybe making a push for Shadir Sanders, which I don't think is going to be
terrible.
I personally don't think he's going to be a very good NFL quarterback.
God.
But I'm like, they're talking about even Deion coming. Deion,
it's a coach and all that, yeah.
Belichick thing. Belichick. If you're not going for Belichick, then you're fools. Enough story. Houston's winning this game. Battle Texas, not even a battle. They're winning it. It's not even close.
And I don't want to beat someone when they're down, man, but what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. It really has to hurt to be a Cowboys fan. Like, seriously, man, at this point, like, I don't even know what to say anymore. You've got Jerry Jones. You've got his own people fighting him at this point in the radio station, what happened just a few weeks ago. And going back to this fourth-round pick, going back to why they're not playing Trey Lance, it really has to suck at this point to be a Cowboys fan. And now, I'm not even joking, Johnny, if that is even remotely true as far as Sanders being a draft option for the Cowboys, like how do you stay being a fan after all those years, honestly? And this is coming from a Magic fan. This is coming from a Buck fan. How do you stay a fan of a team like that? Honestly,
I mean, we all know,
Holy smokes.
that Cowboy fans are delusional, and and Canadian,
Insanity.
and Indian. So they just they don't know what's going on. It's all right. It's okay.
Lord.
Well, as much fun as I'm gonna go undefeated. We had a great week last week there, but I'm telling you right now, you go with the Johnny picks this week. Johnny picks this week are gonna win you some money. I don't see myself losing a single game this week, Chris. A single game, not one. But where we don't miss on a consistent basis is on our waiver wire picks and our fantasy advice that we give here. So, Chris, who's your top fantasy guy this week, Chris? Who you got?
Disclaimer, I know that I said that this team has overachieved this year, but hey, even a team that overachieves, they have players that you obviously have to pick up. So in comes Noah Brown, wide receiver for the Commanders. It's not just McLaurin's team anymore on offense.
You're hating on the Commanders so hard.
Okay, but
now you're
that doesn't mean that they're not going to score. That doesn't mean that they're not going to score points. Here comes this 28-year-old. Over the last 3 weeks, I'm a big believer that targets and wins, that keeps you on the board, right? Okay. He had 6 receptions, 7 receptions. Excuse me, targets, 7 targets. Last 3 weeks, 16 points, 11 points, and 6 points. Okay. That Pittsburgh game, we all know why Pittsburgh won. We know that was a off game for the Washington Commanders. Okay. It was, yes, sir. And then this week, now they take on the Eagles, which Eagles, I think, are 29th ranked as far as giving up yards to receivers. So this is one of those games where with 6 targets, he's going to have some good points. So again, I have not missed, folks. I have not missed. I've given you every wide receiver, every quarterback pick, every tight end pick. I have not failed you. Noah Brown, if you need someone in the flex, you got a 12, 14-man league, Noah Brown's going to produce this week for you.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, with the Ravens, I'm not a big fan of, their secondary. I think but you're over here with the Commanders. They're going to do something. Because I'm not a fan of the Ravens and their secondary, this is why my pick this week, and so a lot of you guys have bye weeks for your quarterbacks, it's Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's roster right now, 23% of all teams. He's available. He's available there, ready, willing for you. The dude is averaging 30 points. 30 points since he's been the quarterback. The Ravens are not the defense that you think they are, that you thought they are. If you haven't been paying attention, if you're Quinn, who picks up the Ravens last week when they're playing the Bengals, and Burrow got 50 points on the Ravens before. Let me pick them up again. The Ravens are not a good defense. Lamar Jackson has the stats that he has because he knows their defense is bad. He has to produce offensively, and he has been so far. But Russell Wilson against this defense is going to score 20-plus points. He's going to get you. He may go off completely. At the end of the day, he's going to score points. This team is going to score points. I have Pittsburgh already winning this game. I get it. But he thinks that, because I haven't won the game, they're not going to the Super Bowl. You have the Ravens going and winning the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they can't do it, but this game right here is going to solidify Russell Wilson's contract with the Steelers. It's always kind of like this. What's going to happen? He's going to win this game. He's going to contract extension, Chris. He's going to contract extension after this game. Russell Wilson is going to ball out. Pick up Russell Wilson right now. Put him on there. If you're like, oh, what am I playing? Kirk Cousins? What am I going to do? Russell Wilson.
By the way,
Russell Wilson.
I also want to mention, going back to Noah Brown, he's rostered only in 12% of leagues, by the way. Once again, you're welcome for that. I can't miss. Let's go.
Well, we've been killing it, so we're going to continue to kill it. I'm telling you. Russell Wilson, 20-plus You going to have what? Noah Brown? Noah Brown? Or you going to call your points? What are you calling? What are you calling your points?
I'm going to say 15 and above
15 and above. Out.
this week.
That's
This
a
week.
lot. All right, Chris. So let's go ahead. Let's continue on with this fantasy advice. We got the waiver wire here, but people want to know, in our weekly starter or sit 'em. So we're going to start it off here with start 'em or sit 'em. People have that bye week. I gave you Russ, but maybe Russ is already taken. You're in that 23% bracket that you can't. He's not available for you here. Do you start or do you sit Tua with all his issues or not this week?
Look, folks, first of all, I'm happy to see that Tua has put together 3 weeks of football. So let me start there. All 3 weeks, Johnny, you're talking about a guy who's got over 200 yards passing per game, so you got to give him credit there, too. The only thing, before I tell you whether you start him or sit him, the only thing that I want to put out there as a warning, if you watched last week's game, will you stop running with your head? Like, please, seriously, stop. What are you doing, bro? You're going to end more than your career at this point. No, I'm serious, man. That really stressed me out watching that. But it's against the Raiders. It's against Lorenzo's team. Don't overthink this one. You start him. As long as he finishes the game, he's going to reward you. This is 20-plus points. And I'm hoping that not only does he reward you guys, but he also rewards Hill and Waddle, gets that going as well. This could be a palate cleanser, if you will. You definitely start him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is the best game for Tua this year coming up right now.
Just watch your head, man. Come on. Jesus.
Start him or sit him, Chris. Jacksonville's Etienne, running back. Going against the Lions. Who you got?
When you were talking about this earlier about giving me Etienne as an option, the first thing that came to my mind is, why is this guy even an option? Why are we even talking about him?
He's still RB1.
He's not just that, Johnny. He's still rostered, and to your point, is starting on so many leagues. Rip the Band-Aid, man. Rip the Band-Aid. You're talking about a guy who he missed out 2 games, 5 points. The most carries he's had, folks, in 7 weeks has been 11 carries. Other than that, it's been 3, 6, and 3. It's time for you to bench him. If you don't want to cut him because you drafted him so high, I get it. But do not start him this week. You have better options. I just gave you one as a flex at wide receiver.
Yeah, that's not a bad take at all. Lastly, Chris, your favorite team. One of them, maybe.
How many favorites am I going to have? Jesus Christ, I got so many favorites.
Aaron Rodgers, Chris. Aaron Rodgers going against Indianapolis Colts here. Is coming off 4-point performance. Is he starting or sitting him?
I'm looking at you, 5-5 teams. I'm looking at you that you're 1 win from being tied, but you got Rodgers. And so you're coming to Florida Man Sports and asking, should you start him this week? And if you listen to my advice, you're going to win the week.
Okay.
If you listen to the advice. The question you got to ask yourself is, who are they playing?
The Colts.
Okay. The other question you got to ask yourself is Aaron Rodgers going to turn things around for the Jets?
Okay. People have been asking that. So last year, injured immediately, and they're asking again this year, week 11.
Go ahead and bench Rodgers.
Thank God.
There are other options that you have at quarterback. I know that you made a good point with Russell Wilson. I agree with you this week. You also honorable mention Herbert is still out there. Herbert can give you more options at this point. And they're not even, like we said, they run the ball a lot. But statistically speaking, he has a better upside this week with this week's matchups than Aaron Rodgers does. So I think it's time to bench him or cut him because ultimately, man, who's going to I, in my fantasy league, I'm winning. I'm not looking at Rodgers as any option or as a B quarterback, so neither should you.
And good point you brought up here. If you're one of these fools, most of you are coming up in your fantasy league trade deadlines. Why are you holding on to certain players? What are you doing? Make a move. If you haven't made a move already, you have to make one final move. Stop holding on to Pacheco and IR, who's not going to be available for another 2 weeks at least. Stop holding on to certain players that are really not going to help you right now. If you need to make a move, make it already. Stop being scared. Just make the moves you need to make there. Scared money don't make money. Yeah. So I agree with that on what you referenced with Chargers, with the Rodgers. Bo Nix is a better option this week. Tua is a better option this week. Like, there's so many better options. Cousins a better option this week. Stafford's a better option this week. No matter, there's so many better options. It's just an unreliability factor that comes onto Rodgers here. But regardless, guys, we hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed this week's picks and everything else here, Chris. Any parting words?
I do want to remind people, and actually I want to start with an apology, folks, because Florida Man Sports, we are more than just football. Basketball season is already here. So next week, we promise the NBA buffet you've been waiting for, as well as the next week's picks. So thank you. Again, reminder, we are streaming on all major platforms.
Yes, we are.
I'm Christian. He's Johnny. We're out, y'all.
Salud.